Debunkers are not your enemy. I am. Just kidding. About me being your enemy, not about the debunkers. Let me explain. I talked with several debunkers and discussed why the paranormal needs critics within the community. Welcome to Ladies Fright. I'm your host, Joan. There are many reasons why people take an interest in the paranormal. For myself, I enjoy the storytelling and the way fables are used to strengthen communities. Some are into specific themes, like ghosts, cryptids, aliens. Others are into the feelings that it's being provoked, like fear, mystery, or grief. There are people who take more of an academic approach with history, philosophy, or religion. Still, others are interested in how it can serve them by boosting their status or profit. A major thread which strings the paranormal community together is to scientifically prove the existence of the paranormal. Despite many bubbles and sliding scales within our community, many would describe there are two major camps, as the believers and the non-believers. Within the non-believer faction, you have cynics, skeptics, and debunkers, which, they can just be shut away. They're just party poopers anyway, but not so fast. Remember that little goal of scientifically proving the paranormal exists? You kind of need at least some skepticism to fulfill that goal. Before we dive into it, I'd like to briefly go over the scientific method. Some common conversation we frequently see is the gatekeeping of scientific rigor. Who is being thorough and honest about the methods they use and the findings they present? What is deemed scientific investigation and when it's not? All in all, the scientific method is a systematic process to determine if there is a relationship between two or more variables. And if blank, then blank statement. The steps go as follows. 1. Make an observation. 2. Ask a question. 3. Form a hypothesis. 4. Run an experiment and gather data. 5. Analyze the data and draw conclusions. 6. Share your results. And 7. Repeat the scientific method. Now, before you click off, I'm not going to go into how each step is applied. Or let's be honest, not applied to paranormal investigations. But I would like to highlight where skeptics are needed.
And that's how science works. Measurements, countermeasurements, arguments, contradictions, revisions, science.
In step 6, share results. The reason for doing so is not so everyone can know how smart you are. It is so others can challenge the hypothesis, as well as the experiment. This is what peer review is. Others should be able to see what you have done, the variables you have used, and then be able to replicate your results, which is step number 7. Now, if you're thinking that this can't be done in the paranormal because the variables are just too volatile, well, for one, I would disagree with you. But 2, I would also say that this is why the existence of the paranormal is a belief and not a fact. At least it's not a fact yet. I'm holding out that this is real, but us not following the scientific method and letting the results be challenged are hindering that from happening.
Science is about questioning and questioning yourself and questioning your own results. A scientist, before they publish a paper, they will try to find what is causing the results that they are getting. They'll try to disprove their own results. They will try to account for what mediating variables could be affecting the outcome of this particular experiment.
Reflective of almost every big scientific claim turning into consensus. So you get the early hint, you get contradictory data, you get tantalizing maybes, you get years of debate, and then you finally settle that debate. Science doesn't usually end up with the Viking lander lands and then it looks out and it's like, hey everybody, look, moss. It's usually drip, 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 and then eventually the flood is big enough that everybody's like, yeah, that room's wet. Is that a good analogy? It'd be great if one day an alien landed and was like, hello, you're not alone. Take me to your YouTuber. Bring them to me. I want to talk. Usually it's not like that. And so these things that are huge, can feel, when they finally happen, pretty anticlimactic, because there's the debate has been going on for so long that it doesn't happen in one moment. It's just consensus slowly builds until everybody's like, yeah, put it in the textbook. So possible biosignature strengthens evidence for habitability. It doesn't sound like the stuff of the front page headlines, but usually extraordinary achievement doesn't happen all at once because it needs a bunch of evidence and a bunch of interrogation. It needs to make its data available for other scientists to challenge. That challenging takes a bunch of time. If like a good challenge comes along, you have to figure out how to answer that challenge, or you have to realize that you can't answer it, or you have to accept that probably you were wrong.
As it stands, the paranormal is a belief, not a fact. A belief is a subjective mental state of accepting a thought as true. To put it simply, it is your opinion if something is true or not. A belief does not need to be backed by evidence, while a fact is something which has been proven to be true through evidence. To show the paranormal is a fact, we would need evidence which would come from the scientific method. So, to be clear, someone who is labeled as a believer in the paranormal is someone who holds the opinion that the paranormal is real. They may have reasons to justify it, but they do not have evidence to prove it. I wouldn't be doing much better than those who misinterpret the scientific method if I don't try to clarify some of the terms we will be discussing. The labels skeptic, debunker, and cynic are sometimes used interchangeably in the paranormal community. A skeptic is someone who questions the evidence they are being shown and not agreeing with it or dismissing it on face value.
I think a skeptic is someone who doesn't believe in the possibility of anything they don't have credible evidence for.
When someone identifies themselves more as a skeptic or taking the skeptical approach, it means they have doubts. And that's the basic definition. They have doubts, they ask questions, they want to get to the truth of the matter, no matter what that truth is. It's just somebody made a claim, whether it's I saw a ghost or I took this pill and it magically cured my flu, or somebody had a cleaning product and they said, oh, this gets out any stain that I can put on my carpet. I might be skeptical of that. I have doubts about it. So I ask questions. I want to know more about it. I want to know this and that. I'll research it and put all the data together to come to a conclusion that's supported by evidence.
Skeptics are willing to hear out arguments about the validity of the paranormal, while a cynic is someone who makes arguments in bad faith or completely avoids the topic altogether.
And a cynic doesn't believe in any of it and doesn't want to talk about it.
As for the cynic part, cynic is really about like you are like set in stone. This is your opinion, right? And you can't change it. And that can come across sort of like ignorant to a lot of people.
A cynic is unwavering in their own opinion, even when presented with evidence.
I get into the deeper philosophical perspectives of skepticism and cynicism because they're actually both schools of philosophical thought. I refer to skepticism, the school of thought of skepticism, as the skepticism with a capital S, as opposed to our everyday usage of the word skepticism with a little s. And it's the same thing with cynicism. Cynicism is also a school of philosophy. Zeno the Cynic, all these different great thinkers from back when. And cynicism, as we typically use it in modern conversation, I use it as a lowercase c. Cynicism, the school of philosophy, is an uppercase c, and the cynicism is a lowercase c that we talk about in these types of conversations. Skepticism for me is just about asking questions. And it is withholding belief until there's sufficient evidence to warrant belief.
Now, it seemed harder to find an agreed upon definition for debunker than it did for the rest of the labels. Fleureo suggested this may be due to the school of thought some of my interviewees came from.
Well, see, it's going to be different depending on who you talk to, because James Randi always considered debunkers. I'd have to look up the quote. Maybe you can look up the quote when you look at it. But he had a definition for what a skeptic is versus what a debunker is, right? And a lot of people like Kenny Biddle and other people, a lot of certain like people in certain circles, they don't like to call themselves debunkers. They like to call themselves more skeptics, or vice versa, depending on whether someone's taking James Randi's quote to heart.
James Randi was a Canadian-American stage magician who became an author and researcher into the paranormal and pseudoscientific claims. He was the founder of the James Randi Educational Fund and the co-founder of the Committee of Skeptical Inquiry, or CSI. CSI is a program within the nonprofit organization Center for Inquiry, or CFI, which both Daniel and Kenny are contributors of.
I'm the founder of the West Virginia Skeptic Society, but I'm also a frequent contributor to the Skeptical Inquirer magazine. Was recently accepted as part of their Speakers Bureau, the Skeptical Inquirer speaker, the CSI Speakers Bureau. So
I am the chief investigator of paranormal claims here at the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, otherwise known as CSI. It is under the umbrella of the Center for Inquiry, which is a larger organization that deals with logic and reason, skepticism, free thought, and it's a worldwide organization. We publish 2 magazines, Skeptical Inquirer and Free Inquiry, and they go out internationally, and they deal with both religious topics and then science topics. I am more on the science side in the paranormal niche. So my job is to investigate claims of the paranormal, no matter what they are, and try to figure out what's going on, and then pass that information on to the public and try to educate the public in critical thinking, skepticism, and science.
I couldn't find the exact quote James Randi said about debunkers and skeptics. However, I admittedly did not research very long or hard, since he's not the focus of this video. Not saying I'll never look into him deeply, just wanted to be transparent about the research I have done. What I did find is that he preferred to be called an investigator and not a debunker. He felt the label of debunker came with a lot of preconceived notions, which would make the investigative party not seem neutral, and therefore their findings would be found less reliable due to prejudice. This perspective was echoed in Kenny's answer to me of what a debunker was.
Debunkers are people that I usually see almost on a warpath. They are dead set on taking the claims that are made and just trashing them, just taking them apart and saying, no, that's not true. And they go in with the intent of doing that, not actually investigating and finding the truth, but they go in with the intention of, I'm going to prove this wrong no matter what. And that's why I don't call myself a debunker.
As mentioned before, though, this is not necessarily the definition everyone holds.
Debunker doesn't necessarily, I would say, have anything to do with what your belief system is. It's just, in my opinion, no matter how much you believe in the paranormal, everyone should debunk themselves. Look at everything with a critical eye. A debunker is just someone, I think, who just looks at someone who doesn't take what they see at face value and thinks outside the box and doesn't just automatically believe with the narrative that's being presented.
And then I think a debunker is someone who is looking for that evidence and does believe in the possibility of it because they are looking for the evidence, but most of the time they're just trying to disprove the faking. That's what a debunker does. They don't like the faking, they like the real thing.
Personally, to me, I think debunking is an action. It's something that we did as a paranormal investigator team. So it's an action. I consider myself a debunker because I'm debunking stuff in my videos and in my stuff, in my content, right? So yes, I'm debunking. You can call me a debunker because that's what people call it.
Something Stevie said.
Before I knew of what a debunker was, I identified as a skeptical believer.
Along with what Kenny said.
I definitely do not call myself a debunker, no matter what the side-eye guy tells you.
Stood out to me. At the start, I had mentioned how the terms skeptic, debunker, and cynic are used in the paranormal community interchangeably. This includes those within this section of the community as well. For example, person A will say person B is a debunker. But when you go to person B's channel, they will say they're a skeptic. Person 1 will say person 2 is a cynic, but when asked, person 2 will say they actually think one aspect of the paranormal could be real. They just need evidence for it, which by Daniel's definition earlier would make person 2 a skeptic. It felt like the pointing Spider-Man meme. It was easy to see why believers who had a rivalry with this group would also resort to identifying individuals as cynics in bad faith. The terms are muddy. I think it's important to clearly identify these terms, and I think Mr. Biddle gave a great example.
But debunking is a result of an investigation. By definition, debunking means you take the falseness out of a claim. For example, if somebody goes down a hallway and they see a shadow at the end of the hallway and they stop and they go, hey, I just saw a shadow. And I walk down that same hallway and I've realized that there is a curtain in one of the rooms and it creates that shadow. We've explained it. There is no debunking because no one made a claim. However, you take that same situation and the person that saw a shadow goes, I saw a shadow. I know this place is haunted. I just saw a ghost. And then they go tell their friends. They write it on their blog. They put it in a book. They go on a podcast, and they tell everyone that it's a ghost. Now they have made a claim. So if I come along later, I investigate it, I find out that, hey, this curtain is what's causing this shadow across the hall or across this wall, and we've been able to explain it. Now, not only have we explained it, but we have debunked the previous claim. So that's how I see it. I don't go into investigations planning on taking the falseness out of everything.
To break this down a little more, and I will mention this is my understanding and not directly from Kenny Biddle, you can have a phenomenon, like a shadow in this case, and it does not become a claim until the phenomenon is explained. In this example, what is causing the shadow is what turns it into a claim. Either of the claims, the shadow is caused by a curtain or a ghost, can now be investigated. If the claim is proven false, then that is a debunk. So someone who takes claims and then can attribute the cause of the phenomenon to a different cause is a debunker. Whereas someone who takes claims and questions the cause of the phenomenon presented the way it is would be a skeptic. Furthermore, the person who's already decided the phenomenon could never be attributed, no matter what it is, to this one thing is a cynic. So if we're looking back at the scientific method, a skeptic may come in at step 2, ask a question. So continuing to use this example from before, you see a shadow, the observation, and ask what made the shadow, the question. A skeptic, or someone thinking as a skeptic, may prompt you to keep on observing to see if there may be a curtain or possibly something which could compromise your sight. This would help lead to your hypothesis, your if blank then blank claim. A debunker would come more at step 6 and 7 to bring their own evidence from their own experimentation or documented experimentation to question the results. Now, we mentioned before that some don't like to be considered a debunker because it suggests a bias, that a debunker doesn't want the paranormal to exist.
I think the good question is, do you believe in anything at all? Because, like, I'm a skeptical believer, and some people are pure skeptics, like Susan Gerbic, my friend. She does not believe in anything. I still believe in stuff, right? And there's some people that are, a lot of us, actually, that are like me, that we are believers. We're skeptical believers.
So the skeptical side of my brain keeps me grounded because I want so badly to believe, but I need to make sure that I'm paying attention to the facts and the important things like the history.
I mean, honestly, I'm going into an investigation hoping that I see something cool. I want to see a ghost. I want to see a demon. I want to see a UFO or an alien, little green man. That would be great.
I would love nothing more than to be proven wrong. I would love there to one day be out and out evidence that the paranormal is a thing. God, I never want to be proven wrong more in my life. I just need to see something. And that's where the skeptical part for me comes into play, is that I just need the evidence. Often I will look at other people's videos and I'll see, well, that doesn't really add up, or that doesn't make sense, or that doesn't align with the kind of behavior I'd expect someone to have in this situation, etc., etc. I believe when I was very young, 12 actually, that I might have had a paranormal experience. I think a lot of people just think it's very cut and dry for me. It's not. It's quite complex. As I stated earlier, I want to believe in it. I actively go to a lot of these locations that a lot of other ghost hunters have been to see how it is for myself, and to hopefully have my own another paranormal experience as an adult. I'm very consistent with my own debunking. I come up with explanations to debunk myself, what I believe I saw as a child. I won't bore you with that now, but there's things with that where I'm like, did I really see what I thought I saw? I don't know. I'll never fully know. All I know is that in my mind, I saw what I saw, but I know memory can be a very complicated thing, especially distant memory. I could have easily been led to what I was so wanted to see something that my mind might have just saw what it wanted to see. So as I say, I could be very consistent with myself, but I would like something to happen now as an adult with a fully formed adult brain to see something. I would love that, nothing more. But until that, I see no reason to say that the paranormal. Oh, that's a hard thing to say. Yeah, I'm gonna go as far as say that I can't say that I believe in the paranormal until I see that, but I'm open to seeing it.
Well, those sound like some real closed-minded cynics to me. Okay, so maybe you are on board with me now. You see that we do need people to raise opposition in order to fulfill the steps of the scientific method properly. And maybe not all of them are stubborn assholes who refuse to believe in anything. But I don't like how they talk about my favorite ghost hunter on YouTube. Okay, let's get a little less STEM and talk a little more chronically online. We need to discuss the role of grifters within the paranormal space. As ridiculous as it sounds, I feel like I need to explain why providing the truth matters. We live in a time where we are consumers all the time. Even when you are not reaching into your wallets, you are still paying, especially with social media. You are paying with your time and attention. When I went to start this YouTube journey, I tried to look up some videos to help make sure my videos would have a chance of being seen. I had one video tell me to sign into my settings and add as many ad breaks as possible, suggesting I show an ad every 90 seconds. The reason was YouTube would want to show my video because every view was more money for YouTube. Now, this is a hobby and certainly not one I plan on quitting my day job for, based on a crappy watching experience for anyone who does not have YouTube Premium. All of this to say, some of these paranormal hunters on this platform are looking for your attention. They will feed their audience whatever story or give whatever reaction gets you to sit through the next ad roll, or type a code in for their sponsorship, or buy their merch. I want to be clear, I'm not speaking in absolutes. I do not think every creator who makes paranormal videos which says the paranormal is real are looking to make a quick buck off of you. I just think it is really important to discuss what a grifter is. I was recently watching a video by Anthony Grumullia, sorry if I said your last name wrong, called When Does a YouTube Critic Become a Lying Grifter?, which I will also have linked in the description down below. In the video, Anthony breaks down what a grifter exactly is.
What is a grifter? What is the grift? What is the message they try to sell you? And how can you tell the difference even if someone is using similar grifter talking points between a true grifter and someone who's just bought the grift? A grifter refers to someone who tries to sell you an artificial solution to a problem they created, or rather, a problem that maybe exists that has no true solution. The grift can take multiple forms. For example, the old school grift was that of the snake oil sales. People are just so desperate for a solution, they just bought hold of it.
A grifter would be like if someone came into your home and then said, oh, yes, there's definitely a demon here. And they are experts in the field of demonology, so you are so lucky they are here to help you. Now, before this, maybe you thought your home was haunted, or maybe you didn't even think it was, but now you have demons. You gotta get rid of them. All they're asking for is the rights to a story, to write a book, or make a movie. A small price you will have to pay for peace in your home again. But maybe this example feels a little too Hollywood for you. A grifter does not have genuine intentions and will instead prey upon the uncertainty and ignorance of their audience. Within the paranormal hunting community, taking advantage could be using technology which has been proven to be faulty, like the DR60, or giving an unhistoric account of a place or person. If outlandish claims go unchallenged, then believers risk being taken advantage of. What do you think the space would look like without skeptics or debunkers?
Insanity. Exploring with Angelo or Mosagi or, oh my gosh, Mackie and Amanda, Twin Paranormal, everything would just look like that. Whether you realize it or not, it is needed. If you want to take this stuff seriously and you want it to be more than just things that little kids like to see to get a little bit of a scare at a slumber party, if you want to treat this as something like, if you really want to answer the question that we've all at some point in our lives ask multiple times, is there life after death? Is there kind of proof or evidence of life after death? If you really do want to treat that seriously, then I'm afraid we're needed. And you yourselves, if you're making that sort of content, need to think more within those parameters.
Oh, it'd be Satanic Panic 2.0. So much grander. It would be like it would always be the answer. Like, it would always be Satan. There would never ever be another discussion.
Stevie has a special interest in the Warrens. Ed and Lorraine Warren were American paranormal investigators, and the couple the Conjuring movie series is based off of. They are often credited with popularizing paranormal hunting and investigating, using their Catholic faith as a touchstone to their authority on the matter. Many of their cases seem to involve demons.
Ed and Lorraine hated the Debunkers. They hated CFI. They hated Randy, James Randi. Even the Psychics did too. And that organization was trying to test these things. is. I think somewhere along the line, that's where it's created this, like, we're evil and we're trying to destroy everyone somehow. A lot of them will say to us, like, oh, you're just jealous or this and that, or you can't seek fame. It's like, if we wanted to be famous and everything, we could, because we know how to fake stuff, right? It's like, we're actually just trying to help people learn. We want the real stuff we want to actually know about the real instances, because a lot of us are believers, like skeptical believers, so... yeah.
The Warrens would come into these homes, diagnose the haunting, and also be the ones that could get rid of the demon infestation. Convenient. They also would not allow skeptical groups to help with these investigations because they did not believe the same religious practices they did. Therefore, they could not be trusted. They made money from these cases by having their clients signing the rights to the story to them so they could write books and later on a whole movie franchise and reap the benefits, while their clients were left with a fraction of the money for the exploitation of their experience, which, if it did happen exactly as the Warrens stated, would be very traumatic. Today, the Warrens' living family still profits off their former clients by displaying items from their homes which are said to be demonically possessed. Recently, there has been a change in hands of the custodianship of the Warrens' Occult Museum to Matt Rife and Elton Castee. And Stevie is worried what these changes could mean for the paranormal community.
I'm actually super concerned about that because I know from experience that when I meet new people and I tell them what I do, I usually start with, have you ever heard of Ed and Lorraine Warren? And I gauge the response. And the response is sometimes very excited. Yeah, I've seen the Conjuring movies, or yeah, I saw them on TV. Or if it's a positive response, I always say, well, what do you know about them and the stories? And they'll tell me what they saw from the movies. And so I worry because that initial idea of it being true and the knowledge that they pulled from the movies being true, if they go to the new attraction that will be available, the Warrens home and they intend to run it as an Airbnb and have people there. There are going to be people that want to go simply because they saw the movie. And that is their only knowledge. And when they show up, that's all they're going to get. They're going to get all the stuff the movies told them with, like, there will be caveats for Bathsheba because that's been everybody knows now. So they won't push that anymore, but they'll still push things like the White Lady in Union Cemetery because that's close by. Or they'll push the items in the museum that, even though they've been debunked, they'll still push the stories. Like, I know I saw Elton push the Fire Doll story and say that there were souls of children trapped in it, and I've debunked that story. You cannot give it a story again. Like, you can't change it now. That's my fear. I fear that people will go in without that knowledge and immediately believe everything they're told and then perpetuate it.
Hearing those you looked up to may not have your best interest in mind sucks. As parasocial as it sounds, I've had moments where a creator I liked turned out to not share the same values I have, and I felt betrayed, felt dumb for liking them, and I thought others might think I was dumb for liking them too. We're all guilty of defending those we like, and skeptic creators acknowledge that. What is the biggest misunderstanding paranormal fans have about debunkers?
They think that we're out to, like, destroy their favorite channel. We're trying to take away their livelihood or some other crap. Then the other one that we get is, because it's a lot of immaturity, and often we'll get things like, you're just jealous, or you're a small channel, what does it matter what you say? Things like that. And it's like, that level of immaturity even tells me, like, how you don't even have critical thinking skills. And I think that's what a lot of them are just worried about, is that we're trying to destroy their favorite ghost hunter and ruin their career. We're not. We're just trying to make people realize, because there's a lot of people that get scared, and they're scared of ghosts and they can't sleep at night. And then they reach out to us and they send us something and they're like, can you explain this to me? I haven't been sleeping for like the last week and I'm so scared. And I'm like, okay, let's look at it. Then I'll send them back like a video, like doing a frame by frame thing with it. And I'm like, see, it was added right here. I'm like, this isn't real. And it helps calm them down, because a lot of people don't realize, because there's a small sect, I would probably say like 20% of the viewers of those people that like realize it's just entertainment, and they're like, well, what does it matter? It's just entertainment. Why are you making such a big deal of it? It's like, well, no, because there's like 70% of you who like truly believe it. And those true believers are the ones that get caught up in scams. Like, they send money to these people, like some bad channels that clearly are, taking advantage of them. They get scared. They hang on to somebody's death and they don't get past grieving somebody. Like there's a lot of problems with not debunking this stuff and letting it get out of hand.
Another one is just that we're haters. Hey, there are some channels I really, really, really don't like. So, like I mentioned earlier about the cancel, I made a big video about Sam and Colby at the Bel Air house, and a lot of people thought I was out to cancel Sam and Colby, and I'm like, that's not true at all. Like, the last thing I want to do is to destroy anyone's livelihood. I just, exposing the truth doesn't mean you want anyone cancelled. It's just exposing the truth. It's as simple as that.
Because some of the fans come from that side of YouTube where they watch these ghost hunters that we can debunk and that do the things that are debunkable. And so when they start watching debunkers, I think initially they think we're just haters and they don't understand that we are trying to present stuff that's factual and informative while we are having fun. And again, there's a lot of roasting. Like I can think of like the side-eye guy or Crow or, Beardo. There's a lot of roasting involved because it's comical to see some of the stuff they do to present to their public as fact.
That we're the enemy, that our intent is to go out and just to destroy belief systems and to. No, it's not. It's to find the truth. There are times when skeptics get a bad rap, and sometimes it's deserved because people identify as a skeptic, but in reality, they are a cynic, or in reality, they are a debunker. They're not, and I don't want to get into the no true Scotsman's fallacy where only true skeptics do this or only a true skeptic will do that, because I'm not like the Lorax. I don't speak for the trees. I'm not like the skeptical Lorax. I don't speak for all skeptics. I just speak for me. People engage with people and they say, well, I'm a skeptic. Well, I don't believe that, and I don't believe that, and I don't believe this, and you're crazy, and that's a bunch of hooey. That's not skepticism. Again, that's cynicism. People get a bad taste in their mouth because, oh, you're a skeptic, but they don't understand a lot of people that they come into contact with are cynics who have this mindset of trying to tear people down. And that's not what I'm about. That's not, again, some people are, but I'm not.
That you can blindly follow someone and hang on their every word. I see a lot of fans that they're loyal to the point where it's fanatical and it's just out of control, because if I say something about some YouTuber that I don't know and I review something he did, he might get mad and say, oh, this guy's picking on me. And then all of a sudden his fans come over to my YouTube channel and start putting on all kinds of obnoxious and nasty comments and stuff. And we've seen that of other people, Side-Eye Guy, Beardo, and others. We see that happen. Why are they doing it? The biggest misunderstanding is actually their loyalty, because now you're blindly following somebody. You're not actually thinking about what was said, what was presented. All they see is that person made fun of my idol. That person made fun of someone I look up to and I watch all the time. I think the biggest misunderstanding there is that the fans who do that need to look at why they're following that person and if that person was wrong, because they can be wrong. They can make mistakes, and they're influencing. If your idol is influencing all these fans to believe certain stuff, or if they go into this is the big one. This is a big pet peeve. If I see any kind of YouTube channel go into a private home and start talking to someone that believes they're haunted or possessed or have a demon coming around or something like that, there is never any thought about mental health. You have a YouTube influencer who has no qualifications whatsoever going in and diagnosing someone as being possessed by a demon instead of encouraging them to get the mental health help that they need, going to their practitioner, seeing their GP and saying, hey, there's a problem here. I need to talk to somebody, and getting that help, or giving out cards with the numbers for mental health hotlines. None of that. There's the misunderstanding that this idol that they put up on their pedestal knows what the fuck they're doing, and they don't. They really don't, and that can cause a lot of harm.
Skeptical and debunker creators care. Have it be the scientific integrity or about the well-being of the community members. They do care. If we want to prove the paranormal exists, we have to engage with skeptics. Just think of how satisfying it will be when that one piece of evidence is found and it can truly not be explained. Or better yet, undeniably explained through the paranormal. But if the community keeps excluding these people and challenges, it doesn't make you right. It just makes your own echo louder in the chamber. They want you to know the truth so you can make informed decisions about who you support, as well as being the voice for those who can't speak, because ghosts are dead people, or unable to advocate for their own narrative, like those who are stuck in legal agreements or marginalized groups whose belief systems have been bastardized and blamed for creating and or causing evil doing in the world. You may not agree with the way that they're doing their argumentation, but they're not doing so in a malicious way. Some use logic, their sense of justice, or humor. They care about their craft, audience, and community. Therefore, debunkers are not your enemy. But what do I know? I'm just some lady talking about some frights. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who participated in this video. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
Well, my name's Daniel Reed. I'm the founder of the West Virginia Skeptics Society. You can just simply go to www.danielareed.com. That's www.danielareed.com. There's the West Virginia Skeptics Society page as well. You can go to the westvirginiaskepticsociety.com and you can find the group. And there's our Facebook group, the West Virginia Skeptics Society Facebook group, that if people want, that you do not have to be a resident of the state of West Virginia to join our group. I try to post things there 2 or 3 or 4 times a week about that are skeptically oriented. But for me, you can find my stuff on the Skeptical Inquirer webpage, on the authors page, and you can go to my website. I try to keep a chronicle of my adventures or misadventures there.
My name is Fleureo, and I do a lot of debunking and video essays and deep dives on things in the paranormal community. I grew up in the industry, in the psychic industry specifically, so I have a lot of experience in that. I just have, over time, become aware of like how fake everything is, and that's why I kind of debunk a lot of it. I did paranormal investigations for some time too, so I have a lot of experience in that as well. I really love history and research, so a lot of my debunking I actually do through history and research, but a lot of my like psychic debunking stuff, a lot of that is sort of just know-how and things learned over time. But I consider myself a debunker because I'm part of the debunking community on YouTube. Yeah, you can just look up on YouTube, it's Fleureo's Phantom Files, and on social media it'll be Fleureo, Fleureo _, in a lot of places because the Fleureo name was taken, but in some places it's just Fleureo, so so it's like Fleureo. Yes, EO. Yeah, even if you just search Fleureo on YouTube, I'm pretty sure like just my stuff comes up. So, yeah.
So my name is Kenny Biddle. I am the Chief Investigator of Paranormal Claims here at the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry. The best way is through skepticalinquirer.org. That is the magazine that I write for. The new issue just came out, which is going to be an old issue by the time you guys see this, but check it out. I write mostly online for them, and I also produce videos. I'm the only one that produces videos for their channel like that. Most of the videos are lectures and stuff like that. But you can go there. My authors page is at, I think it's skepticalinquirer.org/Kenny Biddle. All my stuff is there. There's 120 entries. You can see it there. I do my social media, which is my Facebook page called I Am Kenny Biddle. And you can see a lot of stuff that I post there. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me. I also do a YouTube channel, which is just my name, Kenny Biddle, and I stream that. I stream to that every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I do a show called Skeptical Help Bar. I also put short videos up there where like I'm walking in the morning and somebody asked me a question the night before and I'll talk about it. And it's raw, it's not scripted. I don't think about it. I just read the question and start talking, which is fun. Trying to get all my thoughts together while I'm sweating like a pig because I'm trying to get my exercise in. And you can email me at kbiddle, Biddle, at centerforinquiry.org. If you have questions or if you need help with something, it might take me a day or two to get back to you, but I will get back to you. As long as you're not telling me like you can teleport all over the place and you have these weird superpowers, then I will direct you to our CFIIG challenge, which is a $500,000 challenge for anyone that claims to have superpowers, and we scientifically test them. I've been part of a few of those. It is interesting and educational, to say the least.
I go by the Side-Eye Guy. I debunk paranormal videos on YouTube and some TV shows. YouTube, the Side-Eye Guy, I'm very bad with social media. I'm on social media, I'm just terrible at it. So the best way is just subscribe to the Side-Eye Guy on YouTube. I'm on TikTok too, but again, I'm not very good with TikTok either. I'm pretty bad at all things internet, really. I'm just... So yeah, probably best just to stick with YouTube.
My name is Stevie, and I am the host of the podcast and YouTube channel Truth or Demons. It can be found on any podcast platform, and I'm also on YouTube. All you have to do is search Truth or Demons, and then I am on all social media as well as just Truth or Demons podcast.
I've provided links in the description for all my guests' work. Please check everyone out. Not only were they all friendly and open to talk with me, but they do such amazing and entertaining work. I feel so honored that they all spent their precious time talking with me. There was a lot more that we all talked about, but this felt like a really good starting point and like good talking points. And hopefully I will be able to see if this inspires anything within me and I can chat with these folks again. Thank you again for joining me. Please like and subscribe. If you want more Ladies Fright in your life, you can find me on social media by using the link tree in the channel's description. Once again, a huge thank you to Daniel Reed, Kenny Biddle, Fleureo, Phantom Files, Truth or Demons podcast, and the Side Eye Guy.